are back for another episode of the hotlap.productions podcast. I am your host, Isaiah Reyes.
What's going on, everybody? How we doing? Ventura here.
And
legally, my name's Logan.
There we go. We have a wonderful guest here, Logan, joining us. He's one of our fellow advisor friends and also car enthusiast buddy. So glad to have him on this week.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, let's get into it. This week we actually have a little bit of news, small smidgets amounts of news. Let's start with the end-all be-all of how wonderful the Ford R&D department is the fact that the Bronco is now going to be delayed. Apparently they're blaming it on a top issue. So now it's getting pushed from springtime release to summer release. Now they're pushing the manual version all the way to 2022. So I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not.
Top version?
There is a top issue.
Or top issue, like the top of the car?
Apparently, let me read it. I think they said that the top is having. I guess their supplier for the top is experiencing COVID-19 related issues, is what it says here.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Of all things, I would have never thought it would have been the top. I thought, we were having, engine issues or, something other than the tops.
Well,
of all things.
I just feel like something just didn't work like it was supposed to. And here we are now. So they're keeping the small baby version, like it's still coming out and they're still releasing it. I know I've seen a couple of dealerships actually receive some already for sale.
Okay.
Including the Paris store I was at recently. So I know that they're making progress on those, but the new big boy V8, monstrosity one is not coming out.
The one that people actually want?
Yeah, exactly. The one that we've been waiting for is not going to be here. So,
Not
again,
surprised.
Not surprised.
It is.
It's good old Ford engineering. So, cool thing is they did release base prices with this announcement of no cars. It's like, hey, we're not going to give you the car, but here's how much it's going to be.
Here's some info.
Exactly. So
we can give you info. Can't give you the car,
but we can give you some info. Exactly. The two-door is supposed to start out at $29,000, $29,995, so 30 G's, and then the four-door is going to be $34,695. However, I know Ford dealerships, and there's gonna be like a $10,000-$12,000 markup on the house
for sure.
For the first year.
Easy. Absolutely.
Just all day long.
It's like the Shelby GT. They're like, hey, I know that the 500 just listed at 75, but we got this great deal for 95 right now.
I was watching this video. This one dealership had a GT 500 for like 120.
Oh yeah.
And granted, it was a track pack, but still, they had it like 120 grand on the sticker price, and it had no issue saying it had a $20,000 dealership markup. Literally on the Monroney, it said dealer markup X amount of dollars.
Take pride in it. Take pride.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, the first one that we got in July this year at the store I was at, they marked it at 120 grand, 121,500 was the full price on it. It sold before it got to the dealer.
Dang.
God.
So that one left. It was a lime green one, and then the one after that, because we were a golden ticket store, so we got two on the golden ticket plus the one that we were supposed to get. The second one that we got was like the ruby red color. That one was stickered at 119, and it sold in like 3 weeks.
That's crazy, man.
I was just like,
it really is.
This is annoying. I'm like,
Logan, how do you feel about the Bronco though?
I like the Bronco. I do. The fact that it's delayed makes me very sad on the inside. But I'm excited to see what it does. They're debuting all these photos of it, romp throughout the dunes. But I'm really, I don't know whether to say interested or excited or sad to see if it'll actually live up to the potential. Is it going to live up to the hype?
Yes,
and the agony
maybe?
of the wait.
Right?
I'm gonna say yes, just because I feel like SVT had some hand in it to actually build the body on frame chassis for the the big one. So I don't feel like they're gonna flop. I just feel like there's gonna be R&D issues,
especially the Raptor, I guess, experience, if you will, going back
exactly.
into it. 'Cause I feel like in this day and age, it's almost hard to mess up an off-roader at this point. Like you just kind of have to have some basic things, and then the rest you just gotta, I guess, add on top of. But as long as you kind of have the basics down, like the car is it's gonna be able to do what it needs to do off road.
Yeah.
At least for the what's what I'm looking for, the majority of what people are capable of doing off road. I think it'll be fine. Because of what people actually want off roaders for, sometimes they don't even need four-wheel drive for. They just need ground clearance and a good set of tires, and they're gonna be fine.
Yeah,
Well, you could
exactly.
say that about the Jeep Gladiator, and then their differentials catch on fire. So
Fair enough.
This is also
It's
the SUV
also
we're talking about.
right.
That's true.
It's not like we're you just yeah, no, we're not along that line.
Yeah.
You can't blame them for that.
No, but like you were saying, the starting price at 29 or what 34.9.
Yeah, 29.9 for that 2-door is not bad at all.
Not
bad
not
at
a
all.
bad deal at all for a brand new Bronco. Are you kidding me? But I feel like once they get their Ford will let them like do their Baja version or their SVT version, it's going to jump up 30-40 grand.
Right, exactly. The cool thing about it is, I mean, there's going to be several engine options, so it's not like we're going to
Yeah,
be kind of stuck with just 2 maybe, but there's going to be, I believe, 3 or
Right.
maybe even 4.
Because one of us getting the EcoBoost, no, the 3.5 EcoBoost.
It's getting a 2.7, so there won't be a V8.
Oh, okay.
So there's no 5.0. It's only the 2.3 and the 2.7. So both turbo options, which actually is not a bad deal.
For
Yeah.
the lower end.
No, for the big one.
Oh.
The Bronco Sport only comes with it comes, I believe, with the 2
I
liter
thought one of them was
EcoBoost.
getting a V8.
I'm looking at it here.
Oh.
They are ditching the V8. I thought they were going to get a 5.0. That kind of
Maybe
sucks.
for like a Raptor version, there might be.
Well, yeah, if they do a Raptor version.
Or the Baja version or whatever. Yeah, there probably will be one.
but we know not for 2021 or 2022.
Yeah.
Considering they're pushing everything further. So in other news, we are getting more and more information on Cadillac's new Blackwing series for the V cars. They already have the current V series cars, quote unquote, is what they're called. So they're not full-fledged V cars. They're just kind of like hopped up versions. So those ones are all coming with turbo 4 cylinders, depending on if you get the 2 liter, the 2.7, and some of them I believe are even coming with twin turbo V6s. But the new Blackwing cars, they've released small tidbits of information. So we know for sure that the CT4 and the CT5 are actually going to come with manuals, as well as the CT4, which is basically the ATSV, will now come with not a 3.6 liter unit, but now a 3 liter unit V6 with twin turbos. And the CT5 is going to come with a 6.2 V, so the LT4. It's coming with the LT4 with 650 horsepower.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah, no, there's no difference. There's no change. I'm sure we'll see small updates in the powertrain as far as the 6.2 goes. This new 3 liter engine though does perk my interest because the 3.6 was fire. So
Yeah.
the 3 liter I'm kind of, especially the sound, because the 3.6 sounded wonderful as well. So I want to see
True.
what this is going to offer as far as performance goes. I think we can all agree that GM has probably the best chassis department in the world at the moment, as far as Cadillac and the Camaro and those cars go. I mean, people have to patent Magna ride from them, for God's sake. So they may have their issues here and there, but as far as building chassis for cars, they are probably the number one at the moment.
They know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I mean, as far as new cars, I don't see anything downfalling in the performance aspect.
Yeah,
I'm really
I
happy
100%
they're
agree.
doing the Blackwing because I think they realized when they announced that the V car was going away with this next generation of cars, that the people how upset the car community was really. Granted, a lot of us knew we couldn't get off the shelf anyways, but we always get them when they're used, basically is how that works. But even then it's like, well, now we don't even have the option in 6 years to get this. Like You know what I mean? So I think it's really cool that they kind of listen and realize that they can probably still have at least a small market for the Blackwing or V/Blackwing to still have it. So it's cool to have like the V line, if you will, if you want to call it that, that still gives you like the sporty looks, and then still have the Blackwing for the actual performance part to go with it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it makes sense for them to kind of split it up, if you will, too.
Yeah, and I was even looking. I thought it was surprising. The only competitor, as you could say, is BMW with their M series. The,
Yeah.
the new M3 is the only other performance sedan coming with a 6-speed manual,
Hmm.
and it makes 150 less horsepower than the new Blackwing. And I'm like, good luck, good luck.
Right.
I mean, what,
And the grill.
7 years ago? Well, not even that, 10 years ago, because that was 09 when the the second gen CTSV with the supercharged LSA motor came out.
Yeah.
Cadillac literally broke the Nürburgring record, was the fastest sedan holder for 3 solid years before BMW and Mercedes came after him. But
Mhm.
I mean, that was a serious feature coming out of America of all places.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're coming to smash you at the pinnacle of German racetracks, and shoot, Cadillac literally made a name for themselves when that happened, and they ran with it. I mean, we started getting legitimate sports sedans from Cadillac, of all
Yeah.
people, yet again.
Right. Exactly.
They went from
Yeah.
making front wheel drive V8 boats to making actual sports cars.
That people actually wanted and
Exactly.
lust over.
Yeah. And they could actually
and they look amazing.
They could slap the 6-figure sticker on them, and people are like, "Yeah, okay." Where do I
Right.
see?
I mean, that's what they did with the last CTSV.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah, 6 figures. Oh yeah.
I'll go
Nope,
ahead.
worth it.
Yeah.
Yep.
No problem. Let me. Where do I sign? How much Alcantara do I get with this signature?
Yeah. Can I get carbon fiber on my carbon fiber, please?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Where's the box for that, please?
Additional 10 grand. Who cares?
The funny thing that I've always thought about is that anytime you buy a V-spec car, like brand new from the factory, it comes with a 3-day course to go to the V,
Right.
the whatever it is called.
Yeah.
V
What?
sport class.
V
something like that.
V
Driving,
V
right.
Performance Academy.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
So
Really?
yeah, it comes with
Oh, I didn't know that.
a 3-day course. All you have to do is it's free, but you have to just pay your way to get there. So my question is, how many people actually took advantage of that?
I would say a lot. I don't know because I know the people that bought the new GT500 or when they go and buy the new Ford Raptor, it comes with their either off-road course or their track day with Ford Performance. And I know everyone took advantage of that. So unless you're 90 years old and you're like, you know what, this is my retirement car, then maybe not.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's my thing. I'm just like, you realize that you get a full 3-day of just racing all day long in fast cars. Like,
yes.
Dude, take it.
Yeah,
Go.
Right. Exactly.
Especially because you already paid for the car. I mean, you pay for the car, they're giving you an opportunity to learn how to drive it correctly.
Right.
Of all things. So,
Right. And I think we've reached the point in the automotive industry where you need an instructor to teach you how to drive these performance cars.
Completely.
Oh, because they're so outrageous.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like I would absolutely expect that if I'm going to buy a GT500 that I need someone to teach me how to handle a 700 and however many horsepower track monstrosity of a car.
Exactly.
Right.
Because people can get to the edge of their abilities real quick and not get to the edge of the performance of the car.
Yeah. I remember when the Hellcat came out, there's a guy who bought a Challenger Hellcat and I think crashed it 30 minutes after he left the dealership just because he couldn't handle the speed and just totaled his car like when they first debuted. And I was like, damn, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I saw a video the other day too. I think it was on TikTok of the same thing. Someone had just bought it and like the second half of the TikTok was them showing the car rolled over like same day. And I was like, yep. And it's funny, my mom lusts over Chargers and Challengers and absolutely just always jokes she's gonna get a Hellcat. And I tell her no every time. And I sent her that. I was like, this is why I don't want you having one. Like we'll get you I don't know, an RT or maybe even a scat pack. Can't do as much damage, or maybe she probably could, but not nearly as accidentally as she could in a Hellcat. Because just trying to beat a yellow light or a yellow left turn, and then all of a sudden she's in the street light post. You know what I mean? So yeah. No.
Well, I think you got a Charger sitting in your driveway, right? Just give that to her.
That's mine.
She doesn't. She doesn't want that one. She does not
No.
want that one.
No
Isaiah
one-
doesn't even want that one.
No, that's why it's still sitting there. I'm just like, now that I'm moving back to El Paso, I'm going to go get it. I don't really have a choice, but just I couldn't fathom actually making the 16-hour trip in that car, and
I didn't want to either.
that just there's a connecting rod in there that's basically saying, hey, it's time. But as soon as it gets up to temperature, it's like, I think I can hold on for just a little longer. But in initial startup, you're just like, that's not good.
Just get rid of it.
Yeah, I want
Sell it
to.
here, honestly.
I mean, it's just all it's doing is rotting away in Ventura's driveway because I doubt he started it in 6 months.
It's been a minute. I'm not gonna lie.
I know it's been a minute because
I'm not even sure if it's gonna start at this point.
I mean, you have
Like for a jump start reason, not because of the rod. Hopefully
Well,
not because of the rod.
you're gonna jump start it and it's just gonna shoot through the block. And
I'm putting it on record right now. I hold no responsibility for that happening.
I'm not holding any responsibility to you. I mean, because it's at 98,000 miles, and so we bought it 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, and in 2 years we put 60-something thousand miles on it.
Dang. Okay.
Because we bought it with 32,000 miles, and literally we had just hit 2 years when we left, and it had 98. So yeah,
Wow.
we've murdered that car. So I can't be mad at it, but it's on its last leg, and it's on its like third set of tires since I've had it.
Yeah,
I mean, do something with that chassis. I don't know.
True. Hey, it might throw a rod when you start it, but you got another 2,000 miles before you need to replace a head gasket. So you're doing great.
Good old truck motor. Good old truck motor.
All right, before we get into topics, Logan.
All right.
Tell us a little about your car life, if you will. What was your first car, first sports car, etc.? What you own now, all that good jazz.
Oh man, it's been my first ever vehicle. When I was 16, my dad gifted me with a 1998 Jeep Grand Cherokee, which, oh yeah, no, it was great. Solid, had the 4.0 V8.
Okay.
Got a solid 14 miles per gallon, which when you're in high school, that's great.
It's expensive.
Oh, absolutely, it was. There was. I remember a couple times I had to leave my Jeep at school because I didn't have enough money to put in the gas tank to get it back home. So I would just leave it at school and then ride the bus a couple times to school until I had enough money to put
gas. That's when gas was expensive too.
Yeah,
that's when gas was the $3 and $4 a gallon.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Nice.
So as a high school student working 20 hours in a seasonal job didn't help much. So that vehicle was great. I had it from junior year on, graduated high school, had a carbon monoxide leak into the cabin and it almost killed me. It was great. I would drive 30 minutes to work, feel like I was going to pass out, get super sick. Oh, the Jeep.
I thought it was different.
Jeep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, it sounds like more like a heap.
Oh, yeah. It was a heap. So thankfully got rid of that. And then, growing up playing Need for Speed, I was like, man, I like this sports car type stuff. Let me get the baddest vehicle I can think of. Let me get a V6 Mustang automatic. Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
So my first sports car, 2012 V6 Mustang, and I was like, man, this car stuff is pretty bad. So of course, I did what any teenage kid would do with a sports car. I'm like, who needs this thing called mufflers? Let's get those off of there. I completely had a straight piped V6 Mustang.
No.
And it was an automatic, so you were the worst type of person coming to a car meet.
100%. Oh yeah, show up to car meets. I made sure I had limo tint on my windows so people couldn't see in to see it was an automatic. Yeah, full 9 yards.
Oh,
thankfully, I had one of my my very good friends who also had a V6 Mustang, but his was a manual. So he taught me how to drive stick in his car. which I was very thankful for, and probably fried his clutch. So the next year I was like, I need to make some moves if I want to be known in the car scene. So got the same exact color. I got a 5.0 2013 5.0 with a 6-speed, and I was like, okay, I made it in life. This is where the fast car stuff is.
Yeah.
Did a cold air intake and a tune on it, and then again did what I took from the last car, cut those mufflers off, unneeded, and I had a bunch of fun with that car. And then I was like, you know what? If I really want to get fast, I need to step my game up. So the next year, I was like, let me just waste all my money, and I bought a 2013 Shelby GT 500 and
Quite
got
the
rid of
jump.
my 5.0. Yeah, I was I learned how to waste my money, because at one point I had my GT 500 as my weekend car, and then I had my 5.0 as my daily.
Just all the gas.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You thought I was complaining about gas in the heap? Nope.
Like, yeah, my gas
Nope.
bill is as much as the car note of one of the cars.
Oh, yeah. Yep. 100%. 100%. And it was sad because I would drive the GT 500 on the weekends, and I'd be like, man, this car's great. And then I would get into the 5.0 to take to work, and I'd be like, man, this car really sucks compared to the other one.
Terrible. Why do I have this?
Right. So thankfully I sold that, and man, Ventura, now that you asked about my cars, I realized I've had a lot. So, got rid of the 5.0, got a nice 2006 Lexus LS 430 as my new daily. So again, another 4.3 liter V8, which didn't get much better gas mileage, if
You
not
just
worse.
didn't like money in your wallet.
Oh no, because if I have money, then I spend it.
Yeah.
So if I don't have money, then I save it. It just makes sense, So yeah, I had that GT 500. I did a couple tasteful mods. I had a throttle body, intake, full exhaust, new plugs, tune, and I made just about 700 at the tire on dyno. And it was a fun car until I got, I hate to say, demolished by a dog on the freeway. Rest in peace. Yeah, I've never seen an animal cause so much damage in the middle of an extremely busy city on the freeway. Yeah, let's just say that car blew up, and we'll stop talking about that one. So yeah, my next car, I had a 2007 C6 Z06, which I bought already tastefully modified. Heads cam, full exhaust car, built trans, built diff, fat sway bars, extremely track focused. And me knowing how well I treat cars, the first day blew the motor.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh yeah. No, I went to go start it, and it started delayed, and then all of a sudden I heard this ticking noise. I was like, this sounds weird. so pulled that apart and found bits of the lifter in the oil pan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, this is great. So it took a few months rebuilding or redoing the motor, making sure that was solid. And then a week after I got it put back together, blew up the trans. And I was literally on my way to a car meet, and it felt like I hit a boulder in the middle of the freeway. Like I felt like my car just jumped. And I was like, oh, well, that didn't feel good. And then I realized the only gear I had was fifth. And I was like, man, whatever I hit really did some damage.
So, I don't know what I hit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So, yeah. So, once that, I was like, you know what? I'm just kind of done with the car scene for a while. So I took a couple year hiatus, and saved up some money to where I bought another C6 Z06, found a bone stock one. If I'm gonna make this my car, I'm gonna do it right.
Unicorn.
So found a bone stock car, a 2006, one owner, 45,000 miles on it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep this car stock for a while. So the day after I bought it, I bought some wheels and a set of tires, and then a couple weeks later, I sent it to the shop to have them do a heads cam full exhaust on it. So makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds all right.
It's stock. Don't worry though.
Oh,
Yeah. So currently, I have my stock C6 Z06 with head cam full exhaust that made 578 to the tire on a Mustang dyno. That I still got a lot of work to do to it because again, like Isaiah, like you said, I hate having money in my wallet.
Yeah, of course.
So that's been a portion of my car history. I won't go throughout my dailies because we don't
That's
have
just
enough
a
time.
Oh,
But currently, my nice slow daily is a 2007 Acura TL.
oh yeah, reliable.
Exactly.
The blinking D light.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, no,
check
never
engine
mind.
light and D lights flashing every day.
That's
It's great.
that's new.
Yeah, I've already blown up one trans. I might as well go for two.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Oh, I
Sounds about
love it.
right. Well, all right. Let's jump into this week's topic, which for us, I don't think is necessarily a hard one. I kind of just wanted to talk about street versus track. It's the age-old battle, really,
Ugh.
because you have the track guys who say that the street guys are dumb and retarded and don't know what they're doing, and then you have the street guys who say that they're dumb and they don't know what they're doing, and then you have them hash it out at a car meet, and then that gets real ugly, and then you have the street guy who calls out the track guy at the car meet in his fast car that's bone stock. Most times it's a vet. No offense, Logan.
Come on, man. Come on.
No offense, Logan. It's the guy with the Z51 package base model Corvette who thinks that he's hot shit. And so the street guy calls out the track guy, then they go race on the street, and the track guy doesn't know what he's doing, and then he almost puts his car into the wall, and then he gets mad and has to pay the street guy money.
I feel like this is personal experience you're talking from here.
Been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
This is a very specific situation right now.
Yeah, it's the it's the age old this.
I have to say I've been there a few times, but it's the track. It really just comes down to the track guys just don't understand unless they've been in the street before they went to the track. So I guess you guys can see where my bias comes from. I'm a street guy. Always kind of have been. I like going to track days. It's fun, autocrossing and circuit racing and drag strips. They're fun, but it doesn't give you the same adrenaline rush as sitting there on the street light with the pavement and not knowing if there's a cop quarter mile down the road while you're doing 40.
I got to disagree with you, man. I have to. I said I've done. I mean, I may or may not have participated in street activities back in my heyday.
All of these are in Mexico for anyone
exactly. That's true. You can verify that on my Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something, whether knowing there's an officer there, like I said, you can go, 180 next to a car and just take them to Gapplebee's any day of the week, and it's exhilarating.
Yes.
But there's a difference between going 180 in a straight line and then going 90 into a turn.
Oh yeah,
I think that's way more exhilarating.
So by far, not saying that, because I get you, street racing, quote unquote, most times is roll racing, drag racing, dig racing. Got that.
Right.
I love circuit track racing all day long. So track days, by far, favorite activity on the weekend. So I can understand.
I would agree. I agree.
I can understand. There's nothing that beats going, getting up at 6 a.m. and driving 45 minutes out of town to just go hit a track. Like that's just, it's fun. Circuit track racing is amazing, but it's the down homeness of going out to no man's land in the middle of nowhere sometimes with your street buddies and just hitting the asphalt, not necessarily knowing what's going to happen, because in the street it doesn't really matter whose car is quote unquote fastest, because there's so many what's the word I'm looking for,
factors.
There's so many factors that can play into how a street race can basically come out. I mean, because I can vouch for that, because the Kia can 60 foot most V8s on a track, but I'm going to get taken about 800 foot out. You know what I'm saying? You're going to hook and book and I'm be gone. I'm looking at the taillights while they run a 12 and I'm running a 15. But on the street, there's something about that car on the street that'll just keep pulling. So it really just kind of, there's so many, like I said, there's so many factors that play into running a car on the street compared to running it on a track as far as, you know, basic paper racing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you can look at a car on a piece of paper and automatically be like, oh yeah, this one's gonna win. But the street kind of takes that and just crumbles it up and throws it in the trash.
That's fair. I feel like a lot of street comes to who's got the bigger huevos.
Basically.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, that is a huge part of it, especially like that's a huge part of it. Like, I've seen some guys who have much bigger huevos than me, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
bro, go for it. I'm sorry I tried. Like, I'm a hangbat. I've seen guys take exit lanes to try to overpass cars and then come back into it and like or through the shoulder back into it or just make some very questionable lane changes, and I'm just like, nah, bro, that ain't that deep to me.
Yeah.
But I think this kind of it almost this conversation almost I'm gonna relate it to like almost like a sport aspect. Like, you got the NBA, right? Those are ballers, those are professionals, this is what they do every day.
Mm.
But you can go into a Rutgers Park or any a place like that and find guys who can probably ball up some of those NBA players. But there's still a level to be or something to be said about those NBA players being on top because they made the way, they put in the work to get there. But I think they can also take a page out of some of the street ballers and maybe incorporate into the game. And I think the same thing goes for anyone you can find on the street, where you're gonna find some guys who are very skilled drivers and very very capable of even probably going into a track day and just keeping up with any of those track guys too. But it's an ego thing really at that point, whether you have a professional driver or a track guy versus a street racer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think both, when they're both done right, they both have a level of respect to be had.
Mhm.
Because, like I said, if you have some huevos and pull it off and win a race in the street, bro, by all means, you got that shit. You earned it. You know what I mean? And then the same thing goes for attractive. You got the fastest hot lap, you earned it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, me though, personally, I'm gonna choose a track day every day of the week if I could, if I had the money.
Yeah, I mean, and that's for me. Even though I lean towards street more than track, it's not even because to me, circuit racing is a whole different deal for me. Just because I really enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? Yes, going in straight line's great. Woo, your car's fast. Woo, you have horsepower. But when you get on a circuit track, it doesn't really matter how much horsepower you have. It's how much horsepower can you use, and how
Yep.
much of it can, how the car is necessarily tuned matters as well. Because are you set up for oversteer? Are you set up for understeer? Can you hit the apex correctly? Are your brakes set up to where you can brake later into the corner or come out of it quicker? So the formality of circuit racing it's a big difference compared to street racing. Basically, I mean, as much as we watch Fast and the Furious, that doesn't exist. We're not blocking off half of a neighborhood to go and create a circuit track in the middle of El Paso or Phoenix or Dallas or you just can't do that. You're gonna get caught. But
See, there you go. You can do it, but you'll get caught.
You're gonna get caught. You know what I'm saying? You can't. No, everybody knows that there's not gonna be a clutch. They tell you 3 weeks in advance with those stupid blinking signs when they're gonna close something off. So if it's closed off and they didn't tell you, someone's gonna say something. But as far as building cars and the street cred and all of that, I feel like it's a lot more rewarding in the street sense, because in the circuit track sense, I feel like it's a little bit too much rivalry, because you do have those guys who their ego is way up here, because I've taken X amount of driving courses and performance track learning days, and I've learned from this instructor. And you have the homegrown guys like us who come in and either run you down and beat you, or we keep up with you 90% of the run, and it hurts them. And then all of a sudden they get all butthurt about it, and they're in your face about it. And it's just like, okay. Whereas street, it can happen that way. But a lot of the times they'll either use it as a learning experience to be like, hey, what do you have done to your car? Where did you learn to do that? What are you doing differently than what I'm doing? You know what I'm saying? And it kind of builds the community again, you do have those strays who bring that aspect of I'm going to rival really, I have the rivalry against you and I don't like you type of deal. But 9 times out of 10, it's a community thing. We're building our cars at our garages together, and hey, bring beer, we'll chill, and we'll put the new suspension in, or we'll put your wheels and tires on, stuff like that. So I think that's my preference on that too, because it's just like, yes, I can show up to a track day on a Saturday. Yes, I can, do all the stuff to my car. But at the end of the day, are y'all going to be cordial about it? Or am I going to have to like run and hide at the end of the day,
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more, I guess, community and when you're just in the street world or whatever. Especially as of late, I was actually I think I was talking to Hugh about it not too long ago. Like anyone I've ever done a run with here recently, like it's all just been like, yo, like just pointing at each other, like, hey, good shit, you know what I mean? Like thumbs up, or saying peace out or whatever the case may be. Like, and unfortunately this year with COVID, we haven't been able to really hit car meets as much as everyone would like. But I feel like that mentality would probably carry over into like just regular like actually meetups and stuff too, of just meeting up and being respectful of people's builds and car choices and whatnot, versus you go to the track day, someone probably would look at you like, bro, you're bringing that here, like what are you doing here with that?
You mentioned the autocross when we went to go to Porsche Club of
Yeah,
America's autocross.
I'm pretty sure no one told us anything, but I know
You went to Porsche Club.
We did. We went to
PCA's
We went to PCA's autocross event in October. It was for my birthday, and so me and Ventura show up. Of course, I'm in my stupid loud Kia, and he's in his wonderful Mazda Speed. But it was just like you had the guys who showed up in their autocross setup Miatas and stuff too. So I mean, like we weren't the only oddballs out. But when my little Kia was outrunning some of the guys who had GT4 Caymans and GT3 Porsches, they were a little stink face about their times. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I came here.
We were the only front wheel drive.
Yes, we were the only front wheel drive chassis.
Oh yeah, that'll also upset some people.
And it was just kind of like, all right, especially because like we did 4 runs. 2 of the runs I did with instructors. The last 2 I did by myself, but it was, I mean, I had fun. I enjoyed it. Like it was absolutely wonderful. The Miata guys were really friendly. I will admit that. There was an MR2 who like basically murdered that. He was the fastest.
He was on rails.
The guy was killing it. I mean, he had the car at full throttle basically the entire time. I'm just like, dude. And then there was a Lotus Elise.
Oh, that Lotus Elise. Actually, he was like as low as can be, the fattest spoiler in the back. Yeah. Like this was like, you could tell this was a autocross built machine.
Yeah.
And it was just there for practice runs. Like, you know what I mean? And then there was this other guy too who had a SS1LE, who was a previous like X amount of time like autocross champion.
And they talked about him too.
He was like top 5 in the runs too with some of the Porsche in his Camaro. So there was actually a lot of good drivers out there. It's pretty good.
There was an M3 driver who
stuff like that was
got kicked out though.
Like the first run.
Yeah, literally, he was like the third guy out, and they specifically told us to basically not overkill the track. Like if you lose it in traction or if you like start to slide, just let out, go back in. This motherfucker, like he literally did donuts.
He lost it going into the turn, did like 3 spins. He did it very well though. I will give him credit. He did his turn, caught it, and went straight through the track as normal afterwards. So he recovered. It was an amazing recovery, but it was like so obnoxious. Wah 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 wah, and they kept going. Like it was bad. And they actually had like sound meters around the little asphalt.
Oh,
yeah.
Because it was like in a neighborhood, so we couldn't be too loud.
Oh, was it out at AMP?
Couldn't tell you. Yes. Was that out in Litchfield?
Yes.
Yeah,
Litchfield Park. Yeah. So that it was fun.
Yeah.
I was kind of scared about the decibel thing because I don't have cats or mufflers or anything.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to a track event there this weekend, and they told me no.
Don't you know?
Yeah.
For the car?
Yeah.
For the noise?
Yeah.
Ah, that sucks.
Yeah, they're just straight up. They're like, no, you can't. I was like, oh, all right. Like I understand. I don't agree, but I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to get told no.
At least they told
Right.
you beforehand.
Which
Like
is
you didn't
true.
show up, and then they were like, "Nah, you
That
gotta
was
go."
my
right.
that was my fear. I was like, we're gonna get there, and then I'm gonna start the car, and they're all just gonna be like, no. I'll be like,
Which doesn't make. I don't understand that neighborhood because it's right next to the Air Force Base. I'm like, you
Mhm.
got jets flying over all the time, but you have a noise ordinance for cars. It doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, if you're military, you signed up for that. You didn't sign up for cars.
No comment.
Sorry, didn't didn't mean to make your argument for them like that.
right. But yeah, no, I mean, so that I guess that's my biggest pet peeve with them because, like, again, like I say, like I've been to several track days, I've been to
Mhm.
autocross events, so it's fun, I enjoy it, but I think I just enjoy the camaraderie of street racing more, just because
Sure that.
as stupid as some of them can be, because there are some who front
Oh,
and act
gosh.
like they know everything, and don't know you know a clutch pedal from muffler bearings. So,
Or they're too reckless.
or yeah, exactly. Or they're too reckless, and it's just like, bro,
True.
you're gonna kill somebody.
Right.
So, I'm all for it within a margin of we're trying to keep everybody as safe as possible, and everyone, everything as safe as possible. But there's just sometimes where, because even one of the meets that me and Ventura went to, about a year and a half ago, it was a little sketch because it was like on the way back you were also running into people who were making runs down the street.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
do I really want to be here?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it got raided, and I had to
That's
book
not
it.
good.
And then I had my wife and kids there too.
Oh yeah, that's
So
not good.
I felt like
No.
a complete retard because I was just like, okay, babe, you gotta
Yeah.
gun it, because she was in the Charger, thank God. But I was like, you gotta gun it hard and get out of there before they see you. 'Cause if they see you, it's over. And then they're gonna
Yeah.
wonder why it's gonna be you and the two kids.
And then
Honestly,
two,
yeah, they are.
2 or 3 runs going down that street, I had to stop probably before I made it even halfway through third gear
Yeah.
because there was people cutting in front of us trying to get to.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was just
It
bad.
was sketch.
It was just bad.
Yeah.
So
No,
I mean,
since I remember rolling down like the freeway and I had this guy want to race me. He was on a Hayabusa, but he had his lady on the back of the bike with him. I'm like, man, I'm not. No, like, what are you doing? What are you thinking? I said, I don't want to see you die.
right. You're gonna lay the
Wow.
bike down, and she's there too. Yeah.
Right. And granted,
man,
everyone knows Boosas. They like to go vertical.
Yeah, exactly.
He was trying to give you a shot with the added weight, man.
Maybe. I mean, okay, let me rephrase that. I didn't want to embarrass him. That was it. I didn't want
Was this in the vet or was that in the Shelby?
this is in my Shelby.
Oh, okay.
But no, yeah, I mean, I feel like if we could incorporate the camaraderie into the track racing, it'd be pretty dope. Also, I feel like if track racing was just a little bit more affordable,
Wallet friendly.
right? If it was just a little bit more affordable. Because don't get me wrong, it's not terribly expensive. With not including consumables on the car.
Okay.
The track days aren't that
Yeah.
expensive, and
Okay,
a
that's
lot
fair.
of times they
That's
come
fair.
with food, so you can't
Right.
necessarily complain. $250, you're gonna be there 12 hours. They're gonna feed you. Cool.
Right.
I'm all for it.
You can say that about anything, and I'll be there.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you think about the fact that you have to include tires and brakes, and
Yeah, that's where it
this
gets
breaks, that
That's
breaks,
honestly-
and that's when you start getting a little pricey. But then again, that's when you start to kind of plan with it too, where it's just like, okay, I have my track brakes set, and then I have my track tires, and
Yeah.
so you can make it budget friendly. You can work around that. But I feel like if they were open more too, as far as not once every 2 or 3 months, the track nearest you is going to be open one weekend. You know what I'm saying? And there's 60
Right.
guys that are trying to get on the run, and you got, what I'm saying? Because by the time everybody gets at least 3 or 4 laps in, and you're sitting there cooling, it's just it's
Mhm.
a lot less feasible. You know what I'm saying? You would
Right.
be less inclined to go because you're like, man, I just paid $250 in, and I only got 10 laps in. So
Yeah.
I feel like if tracks were open more, if they were more available, we would have less street racing, and a lot of the street racing guys would want to come to the track to run their cars and kind of get more experience. Because then, but again, who are we? Because we're not capital America, so we don't understand the fact that apparently it can't be cheaper than $250, and that they can't be open apparently more than 2 days a month.
Yeah. Well, I was doing some research on trying to find like a track where you can run your car more than, like you were saying, once every 2 or 3 months.
Mhm.
So I did find a place, south of Sky Harbor Airport, where it's like, hey, you can come run your car 275 plus days a year, and we got places where you can store your car. I was like, man, that seems great.
Mhm.
How much is this? It's a private track. They said, it's not bad. Initiation fee is $75,000,
Okay, yeah.
and it's $10,000 a year. And I was like, wow, that's great. I will never go.
I'm glad that you told me that you just crushed my dreams. Understood.
Right.
Thank you.
Like they hype you up so much. They're like, yes, 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 yes. $75,000 initiation. All right. Okay. I'll never see you.
Did we also get to mention that you can store your car here? Yeah, for 75 grand, I better have a freaking bed and a pillow there too.
Well, be honest, they do. They keep your car in a condo. They have a technician that comes out and works on your car for you. There's a big garage door. You take out your car and you're on the racetrack. It's legit. Out of my budget.
Right.
Yeah. If we all just become millionaires, that'll work.
Hey, I've learned if you just spend all of your money on the lottery, like you have to win.
At some point.
Yeah.
At some point.
Right.
It's in the math.
Right. I know what you're saying. You're like, Logan, you either spend your money on gas or scratchers. I know.
Yeah, and then, again, you're bound to win. You're just
right.
At some point.
Right.
Well, let's wrap this puppy out. Let's get into some track daily crushes this week. We have, as the first one, because we're all wonderful cars enthusiasts, so why not be environmentally conscious? We have the Toyota Prius, the second gen, the wonderful first gen Honda Insight, so the two-door rear tire skirts, manual only Insight, and the people carrying Ford C-Max, because that's the only nice thing I can say about that car. It carries people.
That's true. I was surprised when actually doing research on the Prius. I did not know that it got 60 miles per gallon. I didn't.
In that time frame, that's a lot.
Yes.
Right.
That was hypermiling back then.
Exactly.
Yeah. Logan, you want to kick this one off?
I mean, I will. I said talking about the second gen Prius. What is it? 0405?
Yeah, that's when they started getting that wonderful ugly egg shape.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I see all these people driving around. I'm like, why in the world would you make yourself drive that car? And then I see 60 miles per gallon, 51 highway. I was like, okay, that makes sense. And it's a 4-door. Okay. Obviously you're single. Okay, I get it. It makes sense.
Obviously you're single.
Okay, let's be honest. I have never seen a family get out of a Prius.
You were so
ever.
Right. You're right. He's right.
You're onto something on that one.
He's
I'm gonna go out of my way now to find a family that gets out of a Prius and then send it to both of you.
I know you will. I know you will. Hey, people are gonna hate me. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just speaking my case.
Yeah, that's a very solid point.
Okay, but I'm also gonna go in to the fact of the Honda Insight. Again, one of the ugliest cars Honda's ever made.
Mm-hmm.
With those side skirts over the rear wheels. Don't know why they did it, and I don't know why they brought it back for the clarity, because it's also disgusting. But the fact that got 61 to 68 miles per gallon blows my mind. And also the fact that it's under 2,000 pounds too. I was like, I don't know of a single car that's under 2,000 pounds. Besides,
and it's a hybrid.
Generation Honda
so I don't know if you guys know this. So basically, from the time that car debuted all the way up until like the mid 2000s, so like 05, 06, that car literally dominated the front wheel drive pro stock chassis racing.
I did not know this.
Yes,
I did not know that.
They were putting K24s in them, and they were literally dominating the entire pro stock front wheel drive chassis racing. So like,
is it just because they're so light?
Yes. Like literally, that's all it was out there was just Honda Insights. and the occasional I think that the occasional GTI will golf at the time, but it was literally mainly Honda Insights.
You know how sad I would be if I brought out at the time like my brand new C5 Corvette and lose to a Honda Insight.
You know, you go to the next NHRA meet in the middle of 2003, and you have your C5 Z06. You're like, I bet you $5,000 I could beat that thing, and it's just like, okay. Just walked by.
You just
Honda
can't show your
Insight.
face
Right.
again.
Goes back home, crawls into bed with his wife. Just, honey, I don't know what happened. Just all of a sudden he was gone. I was there still trying to get traction, and I was like, how? I don't know how. Like,
And then next thing you know, she's gone. It's
Right.
a bad combination.
oh my god, that man's life just into shambles after he lost to an Insight.
They go to
Exactly.
the divorce court, and the judge asks her why she's leaving him. He lost to a Honda Insight.
He lost to a damn Insight.
Judge is like,
Did you
I
not see
get
that
it.
thing?
I understand.
He just immediately just sides with her. Approved.
It's
She
close.
gets the Corvette because obviously you don't deserve it.
Which is why in today's day and age, I won't race a Tesla.
Oh man, good Lord Jesus, we just destroyed a man's life in a hypothetical story.
Yes, because he lost to a Honda Insight in the mid 2000s.
Oh God, love it. So, what are your choices, Logan?
Choices of what?
Track
Track Daily Crush.
Oh,
He didn't think about that part. He just
no.
thought about
What?
the fact that the Honda Insight had crappy side skirts on the rear.
So,
Right. That's all I've thought about.
before I felt you gave us the lovely information that they were dominating track days, I was actually gonna pick the Insight because, with the side skirts covering the back wheels, I thought
Aerodynamics.
aerodynamics, just let wind resistance just floating
Sweet.
right off. So there's that. And then I'm a daily Prius because I'm just, the Toyota fanboy in the group. And then we'll just crush the C-Max because it's Ford.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
I agree.
All right.
My choices were also the same. My Honda Insight tracking wasn't only because I realized that it dominated NHRA for the time being, just more to the reasoning that it's like Logan said, and I know I can P16 swap it and be happy because it's cheap. It's a cheap swap. I can just P16 swap it and be fine. So there's that. And I would daily the Prius because 60 miles to the gallon, and the C-Max barely scratches like 48, and it's ugly.
That's fair.
enough.
See, okay, for me, I'm going to go right in order. I'm going to track the Prius because any man who shows up to the track in a Prius is going to get laughed at. So obviously, I just provide people's entertainment. I'm going to crush the Honda Insight. I'm going to crush that Honda Insight. I'll do it twice because it's so damn ugly. I just can't stand it. And then I'm going to daily the C-Max.
Well, folks, due to some capitalism and the Ford C-Max, we had some technical difficulties of continuing our wonderful conversation with Logan. So we're just going to go ahead and again blame it on capitalism and the decision that he made to daily the C-Max and move on. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up this week. We hope you enjoy this episode as frantic and wonderfully well thought out it was. If you have any suggestions for the future or any questions or any track daily crushes that you think we should go over in the podcast, you let us know. Of course, continue to support us. Go to Apple Podcasts and give us 5 stars. We greatly appreciate it.
Share the show too.
Yes, please.
Share the links with friends, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you're using. Share the love. We greatly appreciate it. Logan said thanks for having him.
Yes.
He definitely will be coming back, but our lovely technical difficulties ran past a little longer than what he had allotted. So, but he will at some point in time will probably be back on, and hopefully keep bringing more guests on. So keep supporting and helps us out, and we'll eventually help us out, and we'll keep pushing for you guys and bring the content you guys want.
Yes, please. Any input helps, I promise. Like and subscribe, share, rate the podcast. Check us out on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. You can get us in contact to us through any of those. I promise that we do answer every DM and email. So, of course, feel free to reach out, and we'll see you guys next week.
Stay safe. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.